Thanks for checking out this Teacher Danny tutorial. I guarantee you can complete this. If you have any difficulty, leave a comment. Ask me any questions. I'm a teacher. I'm going to answer them. If you have zero experience, I can get you through this. Hey, Meta Horizon Worlds, this is Teacher Danny, and I'm going to teach you how to make a vehicle that uses natural movement. A lot of times in Meta Horizon Worlds, when we have a vehicle, they work really cool. If I pull the trigger, it'll go. And if I want to go that way, I just point my arm where I want it to go. And this is kind of cool. It's a little, but you know, sometimes it can be a little awkward. But anyway, that's one way to do things. I always thought, why don't we have something where the buttons turn it left and right and it would steer like a real car or vehicle? So I made this little prototype. This is a boat. This is just a functioning. Those are the ones that I actually, completely built. But this is the one I'm going to teach you. And this is very functional. And this does everything we need it to do. So if we get on this boat, okay. And here's the steering wheel. See, it's just something I made. I can point it in any direction. And when I pull the trigger, it goes forward. You see, it goes forward. And now if I want to turn left, it goes as left as I want and continues in that direction. Or if I want to go right. So I'm just using a button. Doesn't matter where I point. It matters about the buttons. So I like it. I feel like it gives you a little bit more control. Let's go over how to do it from scratch. All right, so let's just build a boat. A functional, not even functional, just something that looks like a boat. Let's make the physical properties of a boat. I'm going to use this half tube in the shapes. Make it bigger. Give it a little color. You know what? I want to do this pattern. There we go. Then let's put a chair in it. So the person can have a place to sit down. Now, of course, that's just a cube. Doesn't really do anything. We actually do have chairs now. It's called Avatar Pose. And we're going to put that little guy there. Now, here is our boat. So we have our boat. Let's group the boat together. Now, when we do this, the boat is going to go forward. That's how we're going to use it, the scripting. We're going to say, go forward, boat. Well, forward is on the z-axis on the positive side. So see the little z there? That's negative. So that's not the side it's going to be forward. This is going to be forward, z plus. Not x, not y, but z. So since that's forward, I don't want the boat, let's just cheat a little bit. Let's make sure that our boat is going forward. So that's forward, z on the positive side. Okay. So now I'm going to group these together, and I want to make sure that z is on the positive. So when I group it, I'll start with the hull and then click the other two and then group them together. So that way, the final grouping still has z positive in the front, okay? Now let's make a steering wheel that we're gonna operate this with. And again, the steering wheel doesn't matter what direction you point it, it matters what buttons you push. So now we have two objects here. We have the boat. Let's change its name. It's Entity Group now, but we'll change it to Boat. Now we can use this for a plane, or it's a spaceship, a rocket, a drone, a car, a cart, an animal, anything. Because this can operate separately, even with, like, someone could control this remotely from far away. Anyhow. All right, so now let's make our script. So we're going to pull out a script gizmo. This script, all scripts have to be attached to something, usually, a trigger, sometimes just another object. This time we're going to attach this script to our steering wheel. So that matters when we write the script, and let's see why. So we'll open up the script. All right, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to say when this item is grabbed, if you pull the index trigger, the vehicle will go forward. If you push button 1, it'll go left. If you push button 2, it'll go right. Why does that matter right now? Well, how are we going to get it to do those things? We're going to do it using variables, and we're going to use Boolean variables. So let's first make a variable for the boat. In the script, this is how it's going to know what is the boat. So we're going to title it boat, call it an object. Its type is object. Now we're going to make 3 more variables, but not for boat, and they're not going to be objects. They're going to be Booleans, which means true or false. So our 3 are going to be forward, left, and right. So there's forward, Boolean, and a Boolean can only have 2. Okay, I'm going to put in left. Can only have 2 possible values, true or false. So the left, so I have the forward Boolean, the left Boolean, and now let's do the right one. And by default, they're false. You can make it so when the world starts, they're true, but we're going to leave them false. So when trigger is pulled, so here's what we're going to do. When index trigger is pressed, what's that mean? When index trigger is pressed while grabbed by player. Well, what does it mean? Whatever has the script on it is what's getting grabbed. So we're putting it on the steering wheel. So when you grab the steering wheel and then press the index trigger, whatever we write under this is going to happen. And we're going to say, we're going to go to values and we're going to say set to, because we're going to set a variable and we're going to set the variable forward. And we want to set it to true. So we're going to go back over to values and we're going to pull out a generic Boolean. And we're going to say set forward to true. When you pull the index trigger, we want it to set to true. And now what? That doesn't move anything forward though, does it? So set forward to true. Now we're going to use something called onUpdate. What's that mean, onUpdate? That means everything that we put within this onUpdate block is going to happen every time there's an update. Well, how often is an update? Like 60 times a second, I think. So 0.015 seconds, something like that. This function will run over and over and over every few seconds, or every few fractions of a second. So it happens constantly. So on update, what we're going to do is we're going to check if forward is true. And it's only going to be true when index trigger is pressed. So how do we do that? We say if, make sure it's under there. If, how do we say if forward is true? We use the double equal sign under operators. Double equal sign means like those two, if those two are equivalent, it's true. So if forward, I know that some people are watching, there's ways I can copy from my scripts right now, but I'm doing it the long way because I really want to be clear on every part of it. So if forward equals true, let's go get that generic Boolean again. If forward equals true, okay, it's false by default, so we set it to true. If forward equals true, whatever we put under this if is going to happen every time there's an update. Okay, so just to reiterate, every update, it checks if these are true. And if it is, it's going to do whatever happens in that if. So now we'll do the movement. So we're going to have, if forward is true, then move the boat. Simple, right? So move by over time. And what do we want to move over time? We want to move the boat. And just to be clear, there is a difference between move by and move to. We're using move by. Bye, move to by. Now we're going to move it by what? This is a vector. This is like a certain direction, a certain distance. We're not going to use that. What we're going to do is we're going to go over here to operators and go about halfway down, and we're going to get something called forward direction of object. So it's going to move by the forward direction. Now you still see there's still a space there. Forward direction of what? Well, the boat, right? To move the boat by the forward direction of the boat, which is, as we said, the Z plus. So move by forward direction of boat over 1 second. So basically, if we use the script, pull the index trigger while the index trigger is pressed, when that happens, it's setting forward to true. And this is checking every update. Is forward true? Is forward true? Is forward true? Is forward true? 60 times a second. So while it's true, it will move the boat forward. So it should work if we work it. All right. So this is what we're going to use to put the script on. So let's see. What's our script called? Script 33. You know what? Let's go ahead and name it now. Starting to get some shape. We'll call it boat steer, because this is a boat you can steer. All right. So let's look at our attached script. Let's see. We're on the steering wheel. We're going to go to, I know a lot of you probably already know this, boat steer. We pick that script, and now it's, those are those variables that are already set to, false. We're not going to worry about those. The boat variable, it's saying, what is the boat? So we select the boat and open the menu, and we pull the boat pill and place it in there, and now it's boat. So now it knows this script, when it refers to the script, that boat is this object here. So, one more thing. For me to be able to grab that, you have to do it in the settings. So we would, come up to the steering wheel, open the menu, and click interactive. You see it has grabbable there. We're just going to leave it a grabbable. Physics would make it gravity affected, and we don't want that to happen. All right, so I'm going to appear in the boat. Here I am in the boat. I'll go ahead and have a seat. I'm grabbing it. So if I pull the index trigger, it should have us go forward. Let's see if I did it right. Okay, well, it's working. Now I let go of the trigger and it's still going. So it's going super slow and it's not stopping. So let me go back into edit mode. Yeah, it's just going to continue going. So what do I have to do? I have to turn off, because it keeps checking, is forward true? And if so, it moves the boat. Well, forward is staying true. So how do we make it untrue? We have to have some kind of triggering event, and I think it should be when the index trigger is released. So here's when it's grabbed, when it's pressed. So let's go back over to controls or events and go all the way to the bottom for controller events. So when index trigger is released, let's put it in between the two, because it's when it's pressed and then released. So what do we want to do? We want to set forward to false. Because up here, when we pull the trigger, it's true. When we release it, we want to set it back to false. So let's just go ahead and I know I could be copying things, but I'm being a teacher right now, okay? All right, so set to. What do we want to set? What variable are we going to set? Forward, because we're trying to change it from true to false. So let's go get our forward variable. Let's get our generic Boolean under values and make sure this one's false. All right. So now the boat is still going. Here, tell you what, let's reset. All right. So when I grab it now, it's going to go again, but when I let go, it should stop. So let's see. Okay, it's going. I'm going to let go, and it stopped. Okay, but it's going super slow. Let's fix the slow part real quick. Okay, so where is the motion happening? Right here. Move boat by forward direction over 1 second. Well, if we lower that second, if we give it less time, if we... It takes 1 second for the boat to move that distance, right? So that's... But if we lower the amount of seconds it's going to take to get there, it has to speed up to still be able to get there. So we're going to do 0.1 seconds. Okay, so we changed it from 1 to 0.1. Let's see the speed difference. Pretty significant, pretty significant. And if I let go, boom, it stops. All right, back into edit mode. Now, so we got it to go and stop. Now let's get it to turn left and turn right. All right. I'm wondering how much of this next part, if I get too into detail, just use my boring talk as time for you to build. Hopefully you're building and doing this with the YouTube video up in the corner. If anybody has questions on how to do that, you know, let me know. I'll show you how to set that up. I should make a whole video for that. All right. So how do we get it to turn left and right? Well, we're going to use the exact same logic. So when this button's pressed, forward becomes true. And when it's released, it becomes false. And every update, which is constant, basically, it keeps checking. Is forward true? And if it is, it moves it forward. So we're going to do it by, when a button is pressed, set left to true or set right to true. Now, index trigger's already taken, so let's see. There's only 2 other buttons really to use, button 1 and button 2. Okay. So let's put those, let's put it above it. Now, when button 1 is pressed, all we're doing is we're just setting left to true. So set to, it's under values. We're going to set what to true? Left. And let's get our generic boolean. Okay, so set left to true. We already know we're going to have to make it stop turning left. We don't want it to just continuously turn left, like my cousin Eileen. So when button 1 is released, button 1 is released, we're going to set left to false. Set to, what are we setting to false? Left. And we'll go over, and on the next, when we do the right turns, I'll start doing the quick copying stuff. Okay, so that's it. When button 1 is pressed, it sets left to true. When button 1 is released, it sets left to false. Now let's put in the movement. So we're going to put it in the same update. It's going to check if forward is true, and now it's going to start checking if left is true. So again, we're going to our events. I'm going to say if. I'm going to put it right underneath. Make sure it's not like connected. It has to be underneath. Okay. If, and we're going to put the double equal sign there. And we're going to say if left equals true. If left equals true. Click. If left equals true, well, when we turn, we want it to, we're going to use rotate, not move. So let's see why. Okay. So moves it along these arrows. Okay. These curved like double arrows, that is what rotate moves on. Now, which one do we want to rotate on? This is the Z. Blue is the Z side. Red is yellow. Red is yellow. X is red. And Y is green. So if we rotate on the X, this is the boat. Well, we don't want to rotate like that. We certainly don't want to rotate like this. Unless we're really partying. So what we want to do is we're going to turn by the Y-axis. So what we want to do is turn by the Y-axis. So let's just remember that. We're going to turn by the Y-axis. So let's go to rotate. It's near move. See, there was move by over time. We're going to do rotate by over time. And we're going to rotate what? We're going to rotate the boat. By what? Now, we said we want to rotate on the Y-axis. Well, There's the X, Y, and Z. That's what these three numbers, these three squares represent. So 90 would be like 90-degree turn on the X-axis, but we don't want to turn on our X. We want to turn on the Y-axis. Let's set it to about, I think 15 is usually a good number for a decent turn. Now remember, we had to shorten our 1 second down to 1/10 of a second for the boat to go at a decent speed. Let's do the same thing with this rotation. So we're going to rotate the boat by 15 degrees on the Y-axis, not the X, not the Z. The Y-axis over 1/10 of a second, 0.1 seconds. All right. Now so the button's already ready for false. So when I start riding, I go forward. Great. Now if I push button 1, it should turn left. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Woo! It worked. If I hold it, it takes a longer left turn. If I just tap it, it does a shorter left turn. All right. So that was button 1, turns it left. Now button 2 is going to turn it right. Okay, before I do that, why don't you think to yourself, what are we going to do? It's going to be the exact same logic, right? So how do we do it for these? When the button is pressed, set the variable to true. When the button is released, set it to false. On update, if, those are two significant things. On update, which is constant, like every, 60th of a second, something like that. If the variable is true, do the movement. And that's it. And that's the whole thing. So let me just go over it real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and explain it first and then do the actions, okay? We're going to put when button 2 is pressed, set right to true. When button 2 is released, set right to false. Then I'm going to make a new if statement that says if, I'm going to put in the double equal sign and say if right equals true, and then I'm going to put the rotation movement underneath it, and I will be done. Okay, so step 1. When button 2 is pressed. Let's put that at the top, and then let's even do when button is released. Oh, whoops. When button 2 is released. Okay, what are we going to happen? You know what? It's time to start using the copying. So I'm going to copy this set left to true and set left to false, right? You would think, why would I have left there? Well, now I only have to do one change. And if I just hit right instead of let go, it copies it. Because if you just grab things and move it, they'll erase. Anyway, you'll learn that one the hard way. Okay. When button 2 is pressed, set right to true. When button 2 is released, set right to false. Now let's make our if statement. If double equal sign right, I could have used copying there, huh? Equals true. Do what? Well, to turn left, we rotate 15. So what if we rotate by negative 15 over the same amount of time? So I'm going to just grab this, I'm going to drag it down and hit right stick to just copy it. Because if I would have just drug it down, it would have moved it completely. But this way, it just so now it rotates it by 15. So all I got to do is change that one little thing. I'm going to change that to negative 15. Okay. So rotate the boat by 15 is what left did. Now right. So that's it. The boat should just be functional now. Turn left, turn right. Yeah. Cool. I'll try and get some more video of me. Some better video, like maybe from another view. Let's see if I can just do it right here. Okay. I'll record this, but it might be just good enough for you to see it like this. Yeah, see, it's just me driving the boat. Came up pretty decent. Now you want to make it faster or something like that. It's hard to hold the camera and steer the boat at the same time. Now, if you want to make it faster, I did make like other ones where you can set the speed. So this one, you can actually set the speed on. Okay, see, here's normal, right? I made it a little fast. But I set it to where you can set the speed. So it was at 1. Now let's set it to 5. Hold on. All right, here we go. Watch it. We're going to like zip across. Look, my arm's like flapping in the air. But I can teach you how to make these faster, slower. It's as easy as just adding a little multiplier. Okay, whoops. I did not mean to do that. My boats are just going crazy. All right. So if anybody wants to learn how to make those, let me know. I mean, hopefully this video will get you to make it. And look, the script is super easy to convert. I have it on all of these. You know, take your friends on like a speedboat thing. Or you could do like, look, like a cruise ship, you know, like a pirate ship. I mean, this would be fun to make a whole game out of. I keep going into edit mode. But look at all the room on this ship. You know, and your friends could, you know, you could play like a whole game there. You could be like pirate ships or something. You put these on spaceships, cars. You know, I've put them on these cars. See that one? So whatever you want, these can work on, okay? So Teacher Danny, come check out my scripts. You need a builder, let me know. I'm happy to teach. Happy building, everyone.